Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be explaining to you how to propagate succulents, and it's going to be a really quick video, so please enjoy. Nugget hasn't been here for a while, but I guess she decided to come help me today. Those are little baby ponytail palms. She thinks it's grass. That's now for you. You're so silly, Nugget. Okay, so there's basically two ways that you propagate succulents asexually. That means not by seeds, it's by cloning basically. So I'm gonna just show you the two ways with this guy right here. Now, this one lost a lot of its leaves. It looks super ratchet right now and honestly just horrible, but when I was moving, it kind of got smashed, so a lot of the leaves fell off, and now there's a bunch of new little leaves coming. But it's okay because I kept all the leaves that fell and I propagated using them. So with leaf propagation, all you do is you take a mature leaf and you just pluck it off like that. They should just snap off. If you have a succulent that's well watered, they'll just snap off. So all you do is you snap off your leaf, and then okay, I'll just use this random pot right now because I have another succulent. What is it, Nugget? Okay, so you take this and all you do is you just set it on top of your soil just like that right there. I know this is hard to see because there's other like random little succulent leaves in here, but you just set it right there and then you don't water it. So you leave it there for a while until you see something that looks like this. It's gonna be kind of hard to see. There. So it will grow roots on it. Oh, by the way, this was a cute little succulent planter that a friend made for me. Audrey, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. I had it outside over the summer and it went through a brutal hailstorm, so like some of them are kind of growing back, but it's turned into my little propagation pot. So when leaves break off my succulents, I just throw them in this pot. So that's what this is. Nugget, no. You're so silly. So just like I showed you there, this is just where I had a bunch of leaves that fell off and I just threw them on top of soil, and now they're growing roots like this. Or they'll either do this or they will start doing this, where it actually gets a little plant that's starting to grow off right there. So once they get to this point, you'll take your pot that you want them to be in and you just plant this like I don't have a pot to show you in right now, but you just plant it so that this is sticking out of the soil and the roots are just barely in the soil, and then you'll get a new little tiny plant that grows out of it. Let me see if I can find one. I have a lot of stages going on in here at the same time because I just add to this whenever. So just give me a second. Here's another nice little one where the little plant is starting to grow from the end of the leaf there. That's what you're looking for. So once you plant it, I just pulled this one up from the bottom. I'm spilling leaves. Okay, so you'll plant it, and then you'll start to get this little seedling that shoots up. Well, it's technically not a seedling, but you get this little sprout that will shoot up out of the soil. So it will look like this. You won't see the roots. You'll just see the leaf sticking up and then this new little plant. And eventually the leaf will dry up because this, instead of getting nutrients from the seed, it's getting nutrients from the leaf that it comes from. So this will dry up and just kind of fall off into the soil once the plant is big enough to sustain itself with its own roots. As you can see, there's a decent plant, but not very many roots on this. So it all just kind of depends on the leaf, if it was an older leaf or a newer leaf, or the type of succulent. This guy was a Calancho panda bear. Is that what they're called? A panda? Yeah. Something like that. I don't know. That's what this one was. It's fuzzy. I don't know if you can tell because the camera. Okay, whatever. And this guy that I was showing earlier is an Echeveria. But yeah, so this is what I have for propagating succulents. I just stick all of these leaves in here, and you don't, I mean, it can still work, but you don't want to stick them with the end of the leaf down. You want to stick them with the part of the leaf that was connected to the stem down into the soil. So I'm going to stick it down in this way. And it doesn't need to be in the soil, just set it on top of the soil and the roots will form on their own. So that's one way, just using a leaf to propagate. Another way is when succulents start to get older, or if they get really leggy because they don't have enough sunlight, they'll get kind of tall and then they will start to put off roots on their actual stalks. Okay, you can kind of see that right there. So what you would do is you would just chop the stalk. Oh my gosh, whoa. So you would just chop the stalk right under where the roots are, and then you would just plant the whole stalk. And you can do this with pretty much any kind of succulent. You can do it with haworthias, echeverias, like this is kind of how you propagate hen and chicks. Pretty much anything. I have this aeonium here that I did this with, and it's gonna be hard to tell because it's kind of dirty. Oh, squirrel! Okay, so this one was one that was getting kind of leggy, and I chopped it and I just stuck it in soil, and now it has quite a few roots there actually. There we go. So it has this longer stalk, and so it's been just laying on top of the soil, but I could just plant this now if I wanted to, which I mean I should, but I probably won't because I don't have anything to put it in. But yeah, so you can either chop them at the stalk if they're starting to form roots on the side, and it's really easy to see when they do that. You'll instantly notice pretty much when they start doing that, and you don't have to do that. If they start putting off roots on the side, naturally, it's like if it's getting tall and leggy, it's likely that it would blow over or eventually fall over because it's top heavy in the wild. So if that were to happen, it would fall over and those roots would just reestablish themselves because it has roots on the stalk, not just in the ground. So if the stalk fell over, the roots would be on the ground then and it would reestablish itself. So that's why it's like that. But you don't have to cut it down. Indoors, it's not gonna break unless you knock it over or something or intentionally break it. So you don't have to, but if you want to start more, you can cut it off. And then, like I was showing on this one, if you cut it off here, it would likely start re-sprouting from the same stalk where you cut it off. So like how there's, gosh, it's really hard for me to see. So there's 1, 2, 3 stalks splitting off of this one base one. It would likely do that again. It would send off a few, or since this one is crested, which means it's not just one stalk like these two, it's like a couple stalks that have grown together. It's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a deformity. But this is a crested succulent. So if you cut it off here, the new growth would also be crested, and it would probably just form a big crest along the top, or else it would split into a few crests like this one has here. So you're not like completely losing the stalk if you cut it off. It will regrow. So yeah, that's a way to propagate if you're less patient, because it's already like a whole plant then if you cut this off and stick it in the soil, you know, and you don't have to wait for the little tiny thing to grow its roots. And succulents take a pretty long time to grow, so growing from little leaves, depending on the succulent, can seem like it takes forever. So if you're not a patient person like that, you can just lop off a bigger one that you already have, stick it in soil, and then that one will regrow. And also, when you do this, especially with the leaves, like this little thing, you do not want to water it while you're waiting for the roots to grow out. Once there are some roots that you can see, then you can start watering it, but don't water it when your leaves are just sitting on top of the soil, because they actually need to callus over a little bit before they can start rooting. So if you water, a lot of your leaves are probably just going to rot, and obviously you don't want that. So try not to water. I know it's hard for some people not to water. A lot of people tend to overwater, but try not to water until you can see roots. And it doesn't have to be this many. This one has a ton of roots, but like if you just see one little root popping off, or if you see a new little leaf coming up, you can start watering it then. But you still don't want to overwater it. It's still a succulent. You want to water it very sparingly. because succulents can rot. If they're overwatered, they can rot. So I think that's it. I guess I can say too, like with this little guy, this is like, well, this one too even. I don't know what the scientific names of these are. They're like little sedums, but for these, they're so tiny. You would just break off, okay, like I just did on accident. You would just break off a little piece and just stick this in the soil and this would start growing. These ones, well, most sedum are kind of more delicate compared to other succulents when it comes to watering. They need a little bit more water. They don't have as much water storage capabilities because they're so tiny. So they would be able to be watered sooner when you are propagating them compared to other succulents. You wouldn't have to necessarily wait until there's like a whole reestablished plant. Once you stick them in soil, I would just wait like a week maybe and then start watering just a little bit. But yeah, sedum is super easy to propagate too. So that's like one thing you can just, well, I mean with all succulents, you can just like go over to a friend's house and pop off a little leaf or clip off a little stem and take it home and grow it. It's very easy. Succulents are like the easiest things to propagate ever, like mother of thousands. Oh man, I wish I had some of those. I don't think I have any right now that I can think of at least. Oh, I do actually, but I don't want to go get it. But I feel like I'm just rambling on a lot. This video should have been like 2 minutes long. So yeah, so I'm sure a lot of you have I'm sorry I look really like washed out right now. It's kind of like overcast but really bright outside and I'm using natural light, but I'm sure a lot of you have propagated succulents before, or have grown succulents and not propagated them, or have seen or heard of other people doing it. It's pretty common now because people are getting into house plants and succulents more, and it's just something that's so easy and like almost addicting to do. So at least for me, propagation's really addicting. I love propagating things, since like every single video is propagation. Yeah, so I guess let me know how it goes for you guys if you've done this before, or if you haven't and you want to try now. Let me know how your adventures go with it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, and I will see you next week. Bye!